Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jessica Lynn Johnson. I am the founder of Soaring Solo Studios, which is a company that's dedicated to developing, directing, and producing and coaching solo shows all over the world. And I get to work alongside my colleague, Heather Dowling. She is also an award-winning solo artist and coach and director. Um, and it's our honor to be able to help people tell their stories from stage and really heal and transform this world. So I've been in this field for over 20 years. I've directed and developed about 200 solo shows, I would say, at this point, and produced hundreds of solo shows. I've toured with my own solo shows. I have a show called Oblivious to Everyone. That was my first solo show that I did back in my 20s. And Z is my second solo show that I did in my 30s. And I've got one percolating now. And what else can I tell you? I'm a director and teaching artist with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. I'm a blogger for the NoHo Arts website. So if you go to NoHo Arts and look up Soaring Solo, you can find my blog, which has a bunch of tips and techniques about being a solo theater artist. So yeah, I'm all about solo, if you can't tell. And that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear about you in the chat. So feel free to say hi, maybe where you're at in your solo theater journey. Maybe you're just dabbling and curious, or maybe you've already been touring for a while. Maybe you've got some ideas written or a draft done. Wherever you're at is perfect. And the mission of Free Write Friday is really just to help you carve out some time for your creativity and be supported and have accountability and community as you do that. The whole thing should only take about 20 minutes and hopefully help you make some progress. So unlike my Saturday classes, we don't share what we write in this space. This is just for you to get some writing done and keep it to yourself. And if you want to bring it to my Saturday morning classes, you're more than welcome to. Um, and we don't really do like Q&A or anything like that in this forum. That again is more for my Saturday class. But again, just an opportunity to write. So, without further ado, today's talking point, the last, I think, two sessions of Free Write Friday, we've been exploring internal family systems therapy as a method to discover characters, storylines, and themes in our solo shows. So, if you've never heard of internal family systems or IFS, it is a type of therapy that believes we are all made up of parts or sub personalities. The founder of IFS therapy is Dr. Richard Schwartz, who thought of the mind as an inner family. And the underlying concept of this theory is that we basically all have several living parts within us that fulfill both healthy and unhealthy roles. So last time, on Free Write Friday. And if you missed it, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch the replay. We focused on the part of self that he identifies as a firefighter or the firefighters within us. And today we're going to focus on the managers. So firefighters and managers are both protective parts, but they operate differently. So we're going to look at how the managers operate today. So managers are protective parts that try to keep us safe by controlling our daily functioning, our thoughts, our environment. Their entire goal is to prevent deeper emotional pain from being triggered by keeping the vulnerable exile parts hidden. So some examples of the manager would be the inner critic. It's the part of self, obviously, that judges you harshly, or the people pleaser, the part of self that sacrifices your own needs, to be there for others. The perfectionist, the caretaker, the worrier, the overthinker, the controller, the avoidant, the workaholic, the oversharer, the excessively apologetic part. Those are all examples of managers within ourselves. So some of those might have sounded familiar to you, might be things you identify with, and maybe others not so much. And then he also separates those into two categories, or I should say, ways of being: the healthy managers versus the burdened managers. So he says, a manager part is not inherently bad, but its method can become extreme or burdened by the emotional pain that it carries. So a healthy manager, for example, might help you plan ahead for a presentation, and it's methodical and it allows you to be effective and contributes to a successful outcome. But a burden manager is more extreme. It might become just cripplingly perfectionistic, forcing you to over prepare and endlessly out of fear, just keep working at it and until you're burned out and stressed out and all those types of things. So I'm going to give you some tangible examples from the Soaring Solo community, how these manager parts were turned into characters or themes within a show. So some of you might know Carla Delaney in our community. Her first solo show, Voices, she played the role of inner critic. That was literally the name of the character, inner critic. And it was a hysterical but very mean little gremlin-y type of character who just, tore her apart about everything, her career, the way she looked, like all kinds of things. Um, and it was just one of those characters that was just so mean it became funny because it was also relatable. It was very human. Janice Cronetti in her show My Year of Saying No, she played perfection as a character, and the character just is always holding a mirror up and telling Janice what she can do better, how she's not aiming high enough, just basically all the ways in which she's falling short in every category of her life. Um, and then we have David Paveo in his one-man show called Adventures in Caregiving. Now, while he did not personify a manager character in his show, or at least not to my memory, I don't believe that he did, himself as the narrator, as the storyteller, talking about his own journey as a caretaker for three different family members in hospice, he was like a living, breathing manager part as the narrator because he was sacrificing his own needs, his own social life, um, and not even being able to get into his grief yet, because he was taking care of everyone. So that's really what his show is about, and it's actually going to be part of the Stars series in October, November, at the end of the month, and into November we're doing the Stars series. So look for Adventures in Caregiving by David Paveo. So those are three different examples from the Soaring Solo community. And what I would love to offer you right now is to take 8 minutes. I'm going to set my timer and tell you when. And I want you to write about a manager part within yourself. So, do you have an inner critic within that just rips you apart? Do you have a perfectionistic person within you who nothing you do is ever good enough? You always need to be aiming higher. Are you a people pleaser? Are you a caretaker? Those sorts of things. So think about the list, and I'll go through it again really quickly so we can see if any of these hit you. So we have the inner critic, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, the caretaker, the worrier, the overthinker, the controller, the avoidant part, the workaholic, the oversharer, and the excessively apologetic part. So those are some that Dr. Richard Schwartz identified. So if any of those pop out for you, or maybe several, I want you to take the 8 minutes and write about that. Maybe you're writing from their perspective. Maybe you're personifying one of those and making them a character and giving them a voice and a point of view and whatever they have to say to you or about you. Or maybe you just want to take more like David's approach and write about how that aspect of self has played into your life and what the consequences or the benefits have been of having a manager part within. Okay, so there's no way to mess this up as long as you're expressing yourself on the page. Be really gracious. It's a first draft, so let it be messy. Creativity is messy. And I will let you know when your 8 minutes are up. So dive on in. We have about 4 minutes left. 4 minutes. One minute left. 1 minute. Okay, please go ahead and wrap up your writing. So hopefully you got something meaningful or discovered something interesting from that writing prompt. And just a takeaway I'd like to share. I think, I've had so many people over the years tell me that the creation and performing of their solo shows was better and more healing than decades of therapy. And I know for myself that was very much the case because I think as solo artists, and if we're doing solo theater the way that I truly believe it was intended to be done, we're digging really deeply into ourselves, and we're saying the hard things, we're taking risks, we're being really honest with ourselves, we're excavating our memories and reflecting upon them in depth, and we're exploring all the parts of ourselves, like we're doing in this part of Free Write Friday, the good, the bad, the ugly, and sharing that on stage. We're being fully human, flawed and fabulous, all of it. And by doing this, we heal and we grow in the process. I mean, everybody's always focused on the show, like creating the show and performing the show. And yes, obviously, like that's what we're working toward. But don't forget the creative process is just as important, if not more important, than the final product, because how you grow, change, and transform in the journey is so deeply profound. And then your ability through your willingness to get on stage and be vulnerable and be emotionally and sometimes physically naked, um, allows your audience to grow and transform and heal as well, and know that they're not alone in their struggle with being human. So there's those are my last thoughts on today's writing prompt. So as we wrap up today, I'm just going to roll through the Soaring Solo announcements, and I will put them in the chat as I do so, because I forgot to do that while y'all were writing. Um, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you can just visit my website, because that's where all of this will be. So first up, we've got my free Saturday morning class that I do once a month on Zoom. It's called The Art of Creating the One-Person Show. The next one is happening on Saturday, October 18th, 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up on my website under free stuff. And yeah, it's a 90-minute class. I give you a writing prompt. You can share it if you want what you write from it. You can share if you'd like to. And also people bring prepared work, so some parts of their solo show that they're trying to develop and see how it's working. And there's a section of class dedicated to prepared work as well. So yeah, sign up for that. And then let's see, what did I just put in the chat? Then if ever you're curious about working on your show in a more professional capacity with Heather or myself, you can email me at soaringsoloartist@gmail.com, or go to soaringSoloStudios.com and fill out one of the contact forms, and we can talk about getting you set up with an initial consultation. Um, the Revealed Reading Series, did I put that in the chat? I don't think I did yet. The Revealed Reading Series is an ongoing series that Heather and I produce. And basically what it is an opportunity for you to read a work in progress version of your script online to a virtual audience. We produce it for you. Well, I'd say we co-produce it, because you're involved in it as well. We're both trying to make it a successful endeavor. And it allows you to read your script and see what's working or not working with your script, and get that feedback before you go through all of the effort of memorizing and staging and producing and all the things and putting it on stage. We want to make sure that the script is sound. And the only way to do that is to get some feedback from an audience. So if you're ever interested in being a part of Revealed, or just putting that stake in the ground, even if you haven't written a single word of your script, but you're like, I want to do that. I want to put that stake in the ground, so I have something I'm working toward. Email me. We'll talk about the particulars. The next Free Write Friday is happening on November 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Sign up the same way you did today. We're just going to continue getting through the internal family systems therapy model and how it applies to solo theater. So yeah, if you enjoyed today, come back in November. And then I am also putting my link to my YouTube channel in this chat as well. I have hundreds of videos, free content on my YouTube channel for you to watch. And I've got writing prompts and tutorials, and there's testimonials and all sorts of things on there that'll be useful to your process. So visit my YouTube channel, subscribe. You'll get notified when I have new videos. This is going to be on there later today, so you can watch back if you want to. What else can I tell you? Then the festival circuit. I'm putting that in the chat right now too. The festival circuit is something that Heather and I really believe in as a it's just foundational to your solo theater journey. Getting in the festivals, having the accountability of deadlines, earning laurels to put on your postcard and your graphic to show I was an official selection or official participant of these different festivals. It gives you exposure to reviewers, to judges for awards. Um, it allows you to have the accountability and support of a creative community and meet other people. And most importantly, it puts a stake in the ground. I was just talking to somebody earlier today in one of my sessions. If there is not a stake in the ground, if this is just nebulous and ambiguous and we don't know if it's ever going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, then it's not going to happen. You have to have a goal in mind. What's the date on the calendar? What is the goal that you're trying to achieve? So festivals are an excellent way to do that because they're very regimented. There's deadlines, there's goals you have to hit along the way. So you can see the list I put in the chat, but just for those of you watching back on YouTube, there's the Binge Fringe Festival at the Santa Monica Playhouse. The New York City Fringe, I believe, is now called the Frigid Fringe Festival. There's United Solo, which is the largest one in the whole world of solo festivals. Obviously, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is like the mothership of all of the theater festivals in the world. Philly Fringe, Hollywood Fringe, the LA Women's Theater Festival, and the Soaring Solo Star Series, which Heather and I do every year. And as I mentioned earlier, that's going to be happening at the end of October, the beginning of November. If you're in the LA area or surrounding areas, come in for it. We have 12 fantastic solo artists performing in the festival, and you can use your Soaring Solo discount code. So those are some festivals. There's many, many more that I don't have time to mention, but those are some. I'm also going to put my blog link in the chat. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I write for the NoHo Arts website, and I am a blogger for them, and my blog is called Soaring Solo, so lots of tips there. And the last thing I will mention today in our announcements is the event that Heather is teaching in person. So if you're in LA or surrounding areas or willing to fly in, we have 2 more spots left for the 18th, for October 18th, in her Solo Up event. It is an opportunity for you to work with her. She is so fabulous with characters, but also with writing and the technique of solo theater. So it's called Solo Up. It's from 1:30 to 3:30 Pacific on Saturday, October 18th at a location, a acting studio in North Hollywood. And you just get to get up on your feet and read some excerpts from your solo show, work on a character, improvise to find a character or to find content. And she'll help you take it to the next level. So there's a link for that in the chat as well. The 11th is sold out, but we do have 2 spots left on the 18th. At least we did yesterday when I checked. So that is it. That is a lot of stuff. Thank you all so much for being on the call today. And this will be on YouTube later. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend.